So as we head into the home stretch of the season post All-Star break, the Bulls have 27 games left on their schedule. They have one of the hardest remaining strengths of schedule in the league to finish out those final games. And I think for most of us Bulls fans, we're kind of just waiting for the season to be over, see what happens in the draft lottery, the draft, free agency, etc., and see if this Bulls front office can somehow show us a semblance of a direction, some rationalization of any kind to show what they're doing is making sense. Don't get me wrong, they are going to have options, right? I mean, they're going to have a ton of cap space. They still have all of their draft picks to work with if they wanted to make a big trade, and they do still have some intriguing young players with upside, some of which they acquired at the deadline. For being honest, at least for me anyway, that's the only thing I'm really focused on for the rest of the season. That's really the only thing I'm keeping a close eye on, is how these young players are developing and showing up for the rest of the year to see if the Bulls really have something here with any of these players. 4 players in particular, 2 of which already we have an idea of how they fit, what they bring, because they've been with the team for a bit in Modest and Josh Giddey. And then, of course, the recent additions of Jaden Ivey and Rob Dillingham, who only have played a handful of games with this team thus far. So in this video, we're going to be talking about these players, what to be looking out for, what we need to see from them to give us some semblance of hope for the future, and how the rest of the season could transpire. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, you guys already know I was not really pleased with the decisions the Bulls made at the deadline. I thought tearing it all down this way so late in the game when you already won too many games and just hoping for lottery luck isn't the answer, especially when you didn't acquire any first round picks at the deadline in the process. But what's done is done, and this is where they are right now. And so while we can hope to get lucky in the lottery, none of that is guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is who they have on the roster right now. Now, one player I am the most intrigued by and how he shows up for the rest of the season, and it's especially because he's set to become a restricted free agent, and that's Jaden Ivey. And look, I won't lie, I'm a little worried about Ivey, because when I see how he looks now, watching him play for the Bulls versus his highlights and how he looked last season before he got injured, and he just doesn't have the same pep in his step. He doesn't have the same speed, quickness, not really the same level of athleticism, especially when it comes to his leaping ability. And look, some of that can be attributed to the fact that he's still getting his timing back, still getting acclimated to the game post-injury, a major injury I might add. And yes, you also have to factor in that he was just traded to a team with a mishmash group of guys who haven't played together for very long. So yes, we need to temper expectations a bit, but it does worry me because I feel like we're not going to get enough time to see if Ivey is really a guy that you can build with. Not around, but a guy that you can build with. And not enough time before he's due for a big contract extension. Now, maybe that will work in the Bulls' favor because there won't be that much of a market for him around the league and the Bulls can get him on a team-friendly deal. But in any event, what I want to see from Ivey as it relates to the rest of the season is to see that slowly but surely he's getting his feel back for the game. His decision making has got to get better. I know it's a sample size just with the Bulls, but even with the Pistons, his turnover percentage and turnover rate has gone up. His shot selection has been a bit more questionable, as well as just passing up shots that he actually should take. Again, going back to the confidence factor and how he's been a little more timid since coming back from his injury. And what I want to see is, one, Ivey get to the basket more, draw fouls. His free throw rate has really not been that great. It's actually steadily gone down since his rookie season. But I want to see his free throws go up because he's actually a decent free throw shooter at around 80%, 89% actually so far in his 4 games with the Bulls. I get it. He's become a much better three-point shooter over the past 2 seasons, and he should still let it fly from deep when he's playing off the ball in the catch and shoot. But when he's creating for himself, I want to see him drive and get to the rim more. And he's also got to tighten up those handles. That's another thing I've seen be a noticeable dip in his game since coming back from his injury last season. It will be interesting to see how the Bulls approach Ivey's restricted free agency. Are they going to try and sign him before free agency opens, which teams can now do under the new CBA for their own free agents? Bulls did that with Patrick Williams, mistake. Or will they let the market dictate his value and potentially match any offer sheet he gets like they did with Josh Giddey, which turned out to be a win for them from a contract perspective? My guess is they'll see what the market says and then go from there. Now, when it comes to Rob Dillingham, I've changed my tone on Dillingham a bit. Not completely, but I'm seeing a bit more promise there than I saw before. I still have my doubts because of his size. I know he's listed at 6'2", but bro does not look 6'2". I mean, he looks considerably smaller than everyone else on the court, not only just his height, but by his build and his stature as well. I don't doubt his talent. He's got great handles, great footwork, quick first step to get by his defender, but can he hang with his limited size consistently as a starter in this league? I know someone will say a starter. He's not a starter. He's not going to be a starter for the Bulls. No, he isn't. But the goal should be, when you make a trade like that one that you did for Ayo and you didn't get a first round pick in return, you're going after this young player who was a top 10 pick. You're kind of hoping that one day he's going to eventually be a starter for you. And for me, I have my doubts because he's so small. Lacks the physicality to get to the basket. He can blow by his man because he's got the speed and the ball handling to do so, but when he's met in the paint by help defense, he hits a wall and either has to bring it back out or take a heavily contested shot, which often leads to a miss or a block. And then because of his size on defense, he's almost a non-factor. He gets hunted by opposing teams. Like, he's feisty on defense, he'll give you effort, but he just doesn't have the strength to really hold down his man. Has not been a good shooter in the NBA as well, so to me, I need to see him improve his shot, work on his timing when it comes to getting into the paint and trying to fake out guys in the post, and then doing the little things on defense, like when he's playing off the ball, to ensure he's getting in the passing lanes, reading the right switches, know when to come over and double team. My biggest question though, is Rob Dillingham going to get the requisite minutes for the rest of the season to see what he's really made of? Josh Giddey is coming back. That's another guard that is going to take up a rotation spot. Is Billy going to prioritize his minutes over guys like Sexton and Simons? I sure hope so, because there is no other reason really for the rest of this year than to see what you have in these young players. Young players who you would expect to be a part of your team and their long-term plan, while Sexton and Simons are on expiring contracts and likely walking this offseason. Then when it comes to Modest and Josh Giddey, I mean, we've talked about these guys quite a bit throughout the year, but they're the two most important players on this roster when you talk about this team's overall future. They are your building blocks. We've seen great progress from both since joining this team. Giddey went from, was this trade a mistake? Are the Bulls even better when he's on the floor, to now playing at an all-star level. I still maintain he would have been an all-star this season had he not gotten injured. I still think Giddey has to work on his turnovers. That turnover rate has slowly started to creep up a bit, where it was, closer to his rookie season. But more importantly, I want to see Giddey take over as a leader of this team. Sure, Modest needs to step up in that role as well, but this is only his second season. You can't have that kind of expectations on him. Josh Giddey is in his 5th year in the league. He's played on the best team in the Western Conference. This is kind of his team now. Yeah, maybe Modest will one day take those reins, but this is his team for now. He needs to show up as a vocal leader and taking this team to another level. He's improved so many aspects of his game, from his shooting, his ability to drive and finish at the rim, getting the free throw line more often. His passing has gotten a lot better. I want to see him take on a more active role as a leader for the rest of the season. And then Modest Bucelis, sometimes I think we do put a little too high of expectations on Modest, especially considering this is only his 2nd season. And he's gotten better and taken a big leap from last year. Much more aggressive in demanding the ball and getting up shots more active on the boards, more active on defense and blocking shots. But we also know that Modest is kind of our hope, right, for the future. And it's because of that, it's why we have such high expectations. For Modest, I need to see him take his offense to another level. And by that, I mean scoring at all 3 levels. I want to see him be more of a creator, not only in creating shots for himself, but for others, which he has done. But the problem is, his handles still aren't great, and he loses the ball a lot and turns it over. Need to see those handles tighten up. And as much as I love that his 3-point shooting has been solid, he's shooting it at a great clip on decently high volume. Where he's at his best is when he's attacking. Attack, attack, attack. You may get rejected at the rim, you might fumble the ball and lose it out of bounds. It doesn't matter. This season, the outcome of wins and losses does not matter. You're not even playing in a contract year. Just be aggressive, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and take on a more active role, even a leadership role, now that the overall talent on this roster has diminished. This is your time, more so than the rest of these guys that I just talked about. So that's what I'm looking forward to for the rest of the season. That's what I'm going to be looking out for. Wins and losses, they don't matter. Well, I guess at this point, losses do in fact matter, but to me, the outcome, the results of the games themselves are kind of meaningless at this point. It's all about those 4 players and seeing how they show up for the rest of the season to see what we really have here for this team's future. I would love to hear what you guys think, though. You let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.